I've been noticing an issue that seems to be occurring more frequently in the United States. Now, I'm not saying that this has never happened before, because it definitely has, but I've been seeing it occur more frequently than usual. And this issue seems to be the inappropriate relationships between adults and young adolescents. What's going on, everybody? How you doing today? It's your man here, Jackson's Gambit, with another video for you. So, I don't understand why adults decide to have sexual relations with minors. Maybe they're trying to live out some sick fantasy that they have. Maybe they were picked on as a child and they didn't have these kind of experiences when they were younger. Or maybe their sex lives aren't as interesting as they would like it to be. Either way, these acts are absolutely disgusting and are inexcusable. And unfortunately, most of these cases are involving women.
Tampa police say this woman, 22-year-old Alyssa Zinger, posed as a 14-year-old homeschooled student on social media, befriended students at Wilson Middle School, then sent sex videos on Snapchat, and eventually, they say, engaged in at least 30 sexual acts with one and possibly more students.
Thankfully, all the communication was done over the phone and she didn't show up to these schools, but that's besides the point. I think the reason why these people use Snapchat as a form of communication is because you can set the messages to disappear at a certain amount of time and you think you're absolved of a crime, but unfortunately, just because it disappears off your phone does not mean it's irretrievable. Nice try though. Maybe you can use a written letter or a carrier pigeon.
They've entered a written plea of not guilty and that she will likely be arraigned sometime in the next couple of weeks. He says they haven't had a chance yet to review the evidence, but that they do take issue with the allegation that Zinger ever, in their words, was somehow masquerading as someone of a younger age. That conflicts, however, with part of Zinger's arrest affidavit, which says she began dating the alleged victim in May and was involved in a shoplifting incident July 25th at the Nordstrom department store at International Plaza. There, investigators say Zinger claimed to be 14 years old. They later showed her picture to a supervisor at this Publix store in Carrollwood, where they confirmed she worked and found out she is in fact 22 years old.
Gotcha, bitch!
According to the affidavit, the alleged victim in this case says Zinger told him that she had had sex with other students. Tampa police say this is still an open investigation, and while they can't confirm the number of additional victims, they say there are additional charges forthcoming and ask anyone who believes that they were a victim to contact TPD.
I don't know who in their right mind thought that this woman was 14 years old. This woman? You think this woman is 14 years old? I mean, I get that some females look younger than they actually are, but you think this woman is 14 years old? Nah. And if there was more than one person that she had sexual relations with, I'm surprised this didn't get out any sooner. I could assume that, maybe you could keep it under wraps if it was one or maybe two people. But if it's that many people, I would expect that to get out a lot sooner. You can't spread yourself that thin and think that you can just get away with something for a long period of time. But people find a way. Now, in this next case, we have a female teacher who was in a relation with a minor and then claimed that she's having this kid's baby.
In a shocking phone call played in court, McCommon, who is accused of being the woman on the line, appears to be in distress, suggesting she's pregnant with one of her alleged victim's child.
Just forget we ever talked, okay? I'll raise this baby and I love this baby and I'll do it by myself.
To which the victim replied, okay. McCommon, a former teacher at Charter Academy in Covington, was arrested in September. She was initially accused of inappropriate conduct with students. In the conversation, she's heard pleading for the young man's silence.
I'm gonna raise this baby. I can do this. I tried to tell you when it comes out looking like you. We don't have to talk anymore. Just please God tell me you're not gonna say anything. I'll never speak to you again.
Okay, regardless if you're pregnant or not, the last thing you should be doing is contacting this kid. Have you not done enough damage as it is? You're already in enough trouble. You want to add more to it? And of course that kid's gonna say, okay. The fuck you think this kid's supposed to say? Oh yeah, I'm gonna help you raise this child. This kid's like what, 13 years old?
McCommon was first charged with rape of a child aged 12 or younger. Police say weeks later she violated her conditional bond by contacting one of her alleged victims. So now she's facing additional charges, including coercion of a witness, aggravated stalking, and harassment. McCommon's attorney, Jerry Mason, says he cannot confirm if it was his client on the phone call.
The only evidence they presented of confirmation that this was supposed to be Miss McCommon was a detective who spoke with her once for a few seconds like 5 weeks ago.
Nothing as disgusting as the person who's committed these crimes is the person who has to defend the person that's committed these crimes. I'm sorry, if I was a lawyer, I would not take this case. Now I know that if you end up winning this case, you're gonna get a lot of credibility, but that is a tall hill to climb. If I was a lawyer, I would charge double for stupidity. You wouldn't want me as a lawyer. I'll charge you double. Unfortunately, this guy is a defense attorney, so I hope this guy's getting paid. Thankfully, law enforcement has started to ramp up precautions in order to crack down on these types of crimes.
With regard to the internet, we're seeing an increase there as far as online communication and relationships between adults and young people. And so, yeah, it's definitely becoming a problem here.
These alleged inappropriate relationships, not just on the internet. 24-year-old social worker Peyton Shires now accused of having sex with a 13-year-old boy she was counseling. Just hours after Shires was charged last Friday, 34-year-old Mackenzie Sokol, a behavioral specialist at a Dublin educational center, was arrested and charged with unlawful sexual conduct with a minor after allegedly trading suspected nude photos with a male student under 13. And in March, former Bloom Carroll High School athletic director Chad Little was sentenced in a plea deal to 4.5 years in prison after pleading guilty to having sexual contact with a student. ABC6 is on your side with a simple checklist parents can use to make sure their kids aren't in contact with a predator. Check all of their apps, install parental controls, and monitor all communication your kids are having with others.
And this is exactly why you don't give your 12 or 13-year-old child a cell phone. What does a 12 or 13-year-old child need a cell phone for? Now, you could say that cell phone is for emergencies, but 9 times out of 10, that child is going to use that cell phone for something else other than emergencies.
Happy that parents are having an involvement in what their kids are doing on their devices. That's obviously very important.
But let us look into it. That's what we're here for.
On your side, Steve Levine.
You can't find anybody your age. You 22 years old. You can't find anybody who's 22 years old or a bit older. You got to go for minors. I've always said that if you have to hide something, more often than not, it's probably something that you should not be doing. But for some people, when they decide to commit crimes and do something like this, they convince themselves that what they're doing is right for some reason. I guess you think that after committing it the first 1 or 2 times that it's like watered down. It don't bother you that much after the first couple times. Try to find somebody more your age. And I know some older women like younger guys, but a minor? That's going too far. But that's all I have for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed today's content. Please enjoy your Saturday, and I will be back tomorrow with some more uplifting content. All right? Later days, y'all. Peace.